Okay, so before we start sculpting, your your interface might look something like this when you set up your images. You have your ball and some very faded image plane. So let's take a look at adjusting the opacity of these images. That's all located under modifiers. So if you go into modifiers here, you can actually adjust the frame opacity of the grid. I usually just generally leave that really low because I'll use it to sort of look at grid lines to see where it matches up. For example, my reference if it's lining up, or things like that. I leave it pretty low. I've messed with the E enhancer factor. You can see right now these you can't really adjust. The way you adjust, you're able to adjust them is you have to take your fill mode all the way up to 3. So what's nice about this is you can think about the E enhancer factor as a fall off for your sphere. So I'll leave it, I just this is really up to you how much opacity you want. And then the secondary function is really the fall off for your, or the opacity for your skull or your image planes. Okay? And this is really for the lines, or the lines of your grid. So it's just something like that is what I generally kind of play with. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit X, and X turns on symmetry of my model. And before I use any of these sculpting tools, I usually just grab my move tool. And again, I'm really looking at, let me bring this way up so you can kind of see that a little bit better. I'm just looking at the way, I'm really going to pick a dominant side of my skull in respect to my front view because it's not symmetrical, okay? And I did this on purpose because I really want you guys to sort of practice, like, not necessarily working with bad reference, but like create, like, sort of training your eye to see the spatial relationships and things like that. But really, if you just sculpt off one side anyway with symmetry, you'll be fine. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and pick the left side. I think it's... it actually really doesn't matter which side you go with, but I'm going to go with the left on mine. So let me take my opacity down a little bit. Something like this. And then just with my move tool, I'm just going to go ahead and... if you hold spacebar down, you can increase the draw size, and that's the size of your brush. And you can just really start to move these verts out like this. Another trick is the brackets. That's the left and right brackets located next to the P key. And you can see that the right bracket makes it bigger and the left bracket makes it smaller. So I kind of want to work with just generally a pretty high bracket size here. And again, I'm just really shaping out at a very low level, oops, the skull. Now the way I'm able to snap my views is by holding shift. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and rotate again, hold shift, and again I'm just pulling these verts out a little bit. Let's make sure that we grab the next group, pull these in. Again, really low level so I can kind of see where all these verts line up. And again, I'm really just moving it vert by vert. Alright. Let's take a look at that. Again, let's round that out a little bit better. Alright, so we got a really nice, just general shape of a skull. We want to kind of make sure that we keep nice, smooth, rounded shape all the way around. Alright. Again, I'm focusing on just really predominantly this left side. Okay, let's go ahead and divide this 2 more times. And again, I'm just kind of pulling it up like Play-Doh. And generally, you really just want to go 1 but you know, I think we're making good progress here. And be conscious of things like the highest point of the skull is in the back of the head, things like that. Alright, we're slowly getting there. Alright, let's bring this jaw down a little bit more. Again, see how I'm expanding my brush? So it's a pretty big size. I'm going to hold shift here to kind of smooth that out and then pull it back down. There we go. And yeah, that's a lot better. Alright. Now what we can do at this level is I'm going to click on this clay brush here, and it's going to bring up all the options. Then I'm going to press the C key just to narrow it on my clay brushes, and I'm going to use my clay buildup tool. And by holding Alt, I'm just going to actually start to push in this part of the skull here. And again, I'm really just blocking out this shape. So this tutorial, skull model. Alright, let's go to our side view. And let's play with that opacity a little bit more. And it doesn't look bad. I'm just checking the and if it helps at all, you can actually jump back to this frame, turn on your poly frame. Oh, it looks like mine's already on. Let's redrag. The issue with going back and forth is you have to consistently play with your draw settings or move these things around. You can actually save this interface, and I'll show you how to do that in another tutorial. Okay. So let's bring the right tab over. Alright, let's take our film mode down and just take a look at, see how that looks. It's pretty good. Alright, let's bring it up again. Let's go film mode 3. And again, I'm just going to push in using my clay buildup tool. It's going to really just push in that nostril. Alright. And then push in this area just next to the cheekbone. Then I'm going to go to my side view, and I'm actually just going to, I'm really just marking in any area where there's an indentation. So something like this. Let's take a look at how that looks. Looks really good. Alright, so that concludes this tutorial. And then in the next tutorial, we'll start to pull out the major areas that surround the nostrils and the cheekbones and things like that.